Good afternoon, everyone. So, one thing that we've all witnessed over the years is retail transformation, new trends, innovations, and we've come to realize that there's no one way of leasing a center or running a business. We all have to innovate and come up with our own ideas. And so here we have a very esteemed panel, a combination of mall developers, retailers, to talk about their experiences. So I'm going to now go on to the panelists and ask, of course, to set the stage. Can you all elaborate on any new trends that you witnessed over the years? Atamjot, starting with you.
Hi. Like we were talking about trend earlier also while we were waiting for the session to start. What I feel that trend in terms of when we look at the big boxes and the anchors, the kind of sizes they were working on before, which was approximately about 25 to 30,000 square feet, averaging out. Now they have started to optimally utilizing the space and they have reworked on the size and their merchandising, which has come down to about, say, 18 or 1,000 to 20,000, which is giving space back to the developers, which is being welcomed by the developers. And then these spaces which have come back to developers have been utilized for other categories, trying new brands, getting more options in few categories. For instance, athleisure, earlier we used to see the likes of Adidas and Reeboks. Now we're making space for Skechers, we're making space for big Nike beacons. If we talk about F&B, the earlier trend used to be about 8 to 12% of F&B in every center. Now the centers are going as high as 30% in F&B. So I think this trend is being welcomed by the entire industry, by the retailers as well as the tenants, and being accepted by the consumers as well.
Thank you. Ravinder, you want to take this up as well?
After monitoring the constant growth and especially the Gen Z stepping in to become the core of the shopping pyramid, FECs have played a bigger role. So like what Autumn said, F&B has been very, very critical when it comes to offering right from cafes to fine diners to the nightlife. In the same fashion, I believe now any centers which are in the range of 600,000 to a million square feet, you will see two or more than two type of FECs coming in. So now, initially the FECs used to be very restricted to toddlers and your early kids. Now even a 30-year-old guy wants to go out to a FEC, enjoy with friends and family, if with a drink, nothing like it. So there are more avenues which are opening up. So now we have FECs with F&B and there are F&Bs with FEC. So which have been welcomed by all of the developers. And I foresee that they would be the next key deciding factors when it comes to the children of the house or group of friends, group of colleagues wants to step out. So FSC will play a larger role in making your decision to a pinpoint center.
Thank you, Ravinder. Of course, you run a chain of supermarkets and hypermarkets.
Right, yeah.
What are some of the trends that you witnessed over the years?
Yeah, last from post-COVID, all the trend has been changed because everybody from the family to kids to wives to sisters, but everybody are going to that place where easily we can get connected to F&B, their home demands, their like say clothes, footwear, everything. It has to be one place shop where we can go, children can hang out, we can buy our daily stuff, or we can have some food and beverages. Even like parties, they are kar sakte hain. Whatever we can do.
Right.
It has changed drastically
Right.
post-COVID. Now, as my friend Chaudhary has said, ki people are saying that family-driven. Every business is now family-driven. It's not like me as a family member going there, but my
Right.
children, my daughter said, "Papa, यहाँ नहीं, वहाँ चलेंगे, वहाँ चलेंगे."
Right.
So I have to go there.
Yes. Of course, one thing that I've also witnessed is that when we started with, let's say, Nansal Plaza of 1,500,000 square feet to a million at least for a shopping mall now. So the size of the retail center overall, of course, has changed. And another very important aspect that we've seen is that malls, of course, were earlier known as shopping centers, but over the years we've witnessed that moving to more experiences and to more events and marketing. So, would you all want to highlight what you are doing with your centers and how important is marketing or creating such events to attract footfall?
So marketing is a basic hygiene now. Uh, like we have to upkeep the center daily. We have to do the basic protocols of cleaning, deep cleaning, polishing daily. We need to be on toes for marketing as well. New generation is expecting a lot on social media. So the only way to reach out to them is constantly through the social media handles. That is where you see a lot of traction is generated through YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And we follow a regime and a calendar wherein it is pretty much automated now, wherein there are posts which are set, there are campaigns which are driven to a point wherein if we are willing to do an event, say towards late this year, we go for opinion poll also. So marketing is very, very critical when it comes to have that engagement and that sense of belongingness with your consumer. It is playing a far bigger role than it used to be 2 3 years back.
Right. Do you also want to elaborate, how our, let's say, consumer pattern and behavior? Like earlier, supermarkets, of course, people would come, shop. Abhi deliveries also gotten added. So what are people preferring in terms of buying grocery and essential needs?
Yeah, the change as dynamics has changed. Now people are looking for like VR, virtual reality, augmented realities, like apps, home delivery. People like dine out, say they can magic pins. Every dynamics has changed. Shopping dynamics has changed. Whether it
Right.
is grocery or if I'm talking about both because both are my babies. So
Right.
I'm mixing both F&B and grocery also.
Of course.
Even grocery like the Swiggy, Zomato, and blah blah things. People are just getting convenient things that we can get at home
At home, right. But
basis.
what's the right ratio that you witnessed?
It's
Let's say a delivery versus
ratio
walking.
ratio is on 20/80. 20 is online, 80 is
Right.
offline. But we prefer offline because when they come, volume increases. Online, they have particular, let's say, 6 or 7 segment. They will order on that particular sense. When they come to a store, our visibility increases and revenue also increases.
Clearly, you're setting up 25,000 square feet stores, so I'm sure the ratio is talking. Right, great. Another very important aspect we witnessed is the introduction of technology. As a mall, I think technology in all forms, whether it's footfall, whether it is data, we'd like to understand how important is that from your aspect.
So I'll start. I think from a consumer point of view, technology, if we look at the cashless payments and the digital payments, it has made their life very easy. You have separate checkout counters. You don't have to stand in queues. It's more easy ingress egress. So that is one part while you're shopping. While you're moving out of the center, you pay through your FASTags. You don't have to stand in the queues and wait for your turn to come. So it's more convenient and it makes more quicker. From a retailer point of view, I feel that for them, the ease of business has come in place after the addition of technology. The data that they consume, they save, is helping them to understand the trends, managing the inventory, and later on increasing the sales and getting more repeated customers and how to tame them to buy more and end them spending more.
Right. Thank you, Atam. Ravinder, of course, we all know you set up a very premium mall in a nascent market like Dwarka, right? So what were some of the new technology innovations, that you added? And considering especially the catchment was not used to the mall culture there, how did you, incorporate that and adapt to it?
So yes, technology plays a very crucial role while we were setting up the center, because there was a mall coming up in Delhi after 10 long years wait. So after Promenade, there was nothing that has come up in Delhi. And the expectation of people 5 years back to now were raised to a point that they would want to access technology right from the point that they start thinking about going to which mall. Especially with Dwarka, there were only 3 options that people used to visit. If they are taking the public conveyance, they used to go to Pacific. If they are a self-driven guy staying towards the sectors which are close to Gurgaon and airport, they used to go to Ambience, and the other people used to go to Vasant Kunj for a longer day duration. But what we realized that people were exposed to shopping. They knew what brands. It was just that there was no organized center in Dwarka. So they had to move out of Dwarka to do their regular shopping things as well. So technology front, right from my parking entrance that you come in, it is a on the touch QR based parking.
Right.
So no human contact required for your checking in and checking out. And largely from the app development to keeping them informed about what is happening in the center today and towards this weekend, so that they can plan their week course accordingly.
Right.
Like I said, parking hassle was easy. My valet drop off is again on QR based.
Right.
So no ticket is required. You just give your name and number and then you can move off. So once you are done eating, you have paid your bills and you are on the 4th floor, you just press the call button and by the time you will come down, your car is at the drop.
Wow.
And COVID pushed us to few more innovations. Like my escalators were all UV treated. So handrails was not required to clean manually. So every time the handrail was going through the machine equipment, so it was automatically cleaned by UV. We tried and operated the lifts also with Alexa thing, but that didn't really work well. So that was an experiment. And a lot of other things helped us while we were designing the store. So we kept the design criteria to open facade stores. So there were no doors. In my entire center, all the doors which had Dorma thing, they were like all automated. So the fear of touching any unknown subject was not there. So yes, technology, we are still adapting to a lot of things, knowing our footfall from which pockets they are coming in, what is the frequency of they staying in, right from the footfall counters to their heat mapping, that usually their tendency is to go to right or left, in
Right.
which store, how much time do they spend, and accordingly we do our marketing activity so that the flow of customers are even and everybody is benefited from the footfall that we get.
Right. Well, we are moving to the alpha age, and I'm sure everything will be AI driven, and we do see that outside with a lot of technology platforms exhibiting. So, Vishal, you have locations in eastern region, western region, and northern. Do you see a difference in the pattern, the consumer behavior in each of these geographies?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because Western, when talk of Western or Eastern, they are a bit organized people.
Right.
When we come to northern side, we are a little organized. When we go, let's say, I give you one example. When I go for, let's say, buy some grocery.
Right.
So मुझे राजमा लेने हैं या चावल लेने हैं तो ऐसे यार दावत का ले लेता हूँ. बड़ा सम ऑफर आ रही है कि मुझे 20% 10% डिस्काउंट दे रहा है कुछ भी एक्सपायरी डेट में. तो आई परचेज की ठीक है मुझे डिस्काउंट मिला वो ले लेता हूँ.
Price
तो
sense.
आई एम नॉट पर्टिकुलर कि मैं दावत ही लूँगा या कोई इंडिया गेट लाल बाग कोई भी लूँगा. बट बाकी जस्ट ईस्ट और वेस्ट दे आर पर्टिकुलर मैं दावत ही लेना है मुझे वो कुछ नहीं लेना.
Right.
Here preference also changes, dynamics changes, everything changes because in India is every 100 kilometer everything changes.
Right.
So the same pattern of buying habit also changes.
Right, right. A similar question on the mall side. हम लोग भी जब mall बनाते हैं, when we come up with different locations, let's say different markets of Gurgaon, different markets of Delhi, it's again a price, variance in all of these markets. So do you think there is a zoning or there is a leasing plan which is done accordingly? So let's say you're doing, ELAN is doing a few developments in different pockets of Gurgaon. How have you sort of, kept the brand mix or the tenant mix of these projects?
Before planning any project, we first have to understand the reason behind creating that asset there. What is the reason? What is the need of that place? If we are building centers which are in close proximity, for instance, we have a Miracle in Sector 84, we have Makado in Sector 80, we are coming up with a new project on Sector 82. Because they are as per the need of the area, as per the reason, then they are further being differentiated into 2 different categories. So Miracle or a Makado becomes more of a neighborhood center, You can call them shopping centers as well. Whereas the new, which is coming up in Sector 82, will be more of a destination center. When we say destination center, these are mega malls, basically, which are 1 million plus, in and around 1 million. And the smaller ones the neighborhood centers can be as small as 1.5 lakh square feet. And coming back to the reason, now these centers can be your F&B centers, they can be your jewelry-driven centers, for instance, likes of gold souks. They can be your daily need centers.
Right.
So we have to understand the reason first before we get into the market, and that's how we plan and design the projects.
Right. Ravinder, similarly, you've got different locations like Apitampura, Dwarka, Rohini, in fact. And so how did you plan the tenant mix of these centers? What were some of the factors that you kept in mind?
So like Atam said, we also mapped the city beforehand, before going to the sketchboard. And after reading the market, so for example, if I'll give you the idea of Vegas, what went through and how did we came to the subject now, which is up and running. So we realized it is a ready catchment of 700,000 to 800,000 people, which was growing by 10-12%, and very organized part of the city. But the only problem was the access to the location was not much. So ingress was tight, and most of the time it was a sub-city called because लोग सुबह ड्यूटी के लिए निकल जाते थे, शाम को आ रहे हैं, दिन भर वो जो शहर है वो बहुत शांत है. बट उसी में पोटेंशियल अच्छा था कि 7 लाख लोग रह रहे हैं और कोई ऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिटेल नहीं है. वहाँ सब लोग हाई स्ट्रीट पे बैठे हुए हैं. हाई स्ट्रीट की दुकानें वहाँ कैसे फंक्शन कर रही है? 500 फुट की दुकान है, 15 लाख की सेल कर रही है, 3000 का थ्रूपुट दे रही है. लेकिन वो क्योंकि 500 स्क्वायर फीट की दुकान है, वो चाह के भी 1000 फुट या 1200 फुट नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो वो लिमिटेड ऑफरिंग रख रहा है. सो दे वर ओनली प्लेइंग ऑन बेसिक्स. अगर आपको व्हाइट ब्लैक ब्लू शर्ट चाहिए वो मिलेगी वहाँ पे. अगर आपको कोई सेलिब्रिटी ड्रेस चाहिए, यू हैव टू स्टेप आउट ऑफ दैट सिटी. सो वी रियलाइज्ड, वी स्पोकन टू अ फ्यू पीपल. आदित्य बिरला से बात हुई, अरविंद से बात हुई, टाटा से बात हुई. Everybody showed a lot of enthusiasm and positivity that we could really do a good center. And that is the reason why we opted to design the mall in 2 sections. One was extrovert retail, which was ended up with jewelry section and CDIT. And the introvert had best of the brands that anybody could think of. So to a lot of retailers' surprise, they were like, we can have Under Armour in this mall day one. We had Armani Exchange day one. We had Forever New day one. So these were the brands which were less heard of in that section of society. But we were clear that malls usually take couple of years to gradually go up. You need to teach people what fashion sense is all about. Today what we see in Dwarka, anybody doing one more center, be it a smaller center, they don't have to do that much what we did in first 5 years. Coming to the new center that we are doing, again, North Delhi, untapped market, very less of retail. Potential of that city is 3 times Dwarka. More than 2 million people residing. Dwarka was more of service class. Model town, Civil Line, Ashok Vihar is more of business class. Lot of industrial houses, no retail. And that is the reason that gave us that confidence of taking the bar higher and taking the route of an average billing of 10,000, 12,000 rupees. They are more exposed. They are more global travelers than we had in Dwarka. So that is the lesson learned from an operating center at Dwarka. So we went to a route wherein good F&B, good FEC, premium cinema, premium shopping was introduced. And I fully double the thought what Atam was sharing. It is done day one. जिस दिन आपने लैंड की बिड में गए हो या आपने लैंड लिया है, ये उसी दिन शुरू हो जाता है कि हम इसको क्या रूट पे जाने वाले हैं. लेने के बाद रिवीजन बहुत कम सेंटर्स कर पाते हैं, बिकॉज आपको उसी हिसाब से उसको सिविल वर्क करना है, पार्किंग के अरेंजमेंट्स करनी है. ये चीजें बाद में नहीं बन पाती. आप दुकानें छोटी बड़ी कर सकते हो, बट कोर इंफ्रा नहीं चेंज हो पाता. And that is the reason why first core has to be very flexible. कि in case after 10 years, malls are not built for 5, 7, 10 years, one term. After 10 years, you will see a lot of retail changing. Big boxes might come back. Hypermarkets might come back again to 1 lakh square feet. How will you accommodate them? So that flexibility of size will be only given to you from the civil core that you have done, the grid sizes that you have adapted to. So that is what we brainstorm a lot on, and then we do something.
Right. So I'm actually going to pick up from there on the core and the services part. So Vishal, आप लोग जब अपना hypermarkets या supermarkets design करते हैं, what are the key elements, meaning in terms of service level standards, which you make sure or incorporate as part of your formats based on the consumer expectations and patterns. So you want to highlight some?
Basic
Yeah.
thing is that whenever you go to a supermarket or hypermarket, thing is that is billing point. You can buy stuff, everything is this. But when you go to the billing counter, you have to wait for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That is the worst part which everybody hates.
Right.
So we worked on that. For even 2,000 square feet, we have put 3 billing counter. For let's say 20,000 square feet, we have put in 10 to 20 billing counters. That people don't have to face that problems. That waiting for 10, 15 minutes. Shopping हमने आधा घंटा कर लिया, but waiting for 10, 15 minutes is a very tedious job. So
Right.
people hate this thing. So we have worked on that. I know we are scaling that good things. That people are happy. Hardly it takes 2 to 3 minutes. Billing is done. He'll go to their.
Right. And how do you keep the customer keep coming back? Do you have loyalty programs? या फिर
Yeah. Our basic thing is that we sell products always below MRP.
Right.
Besides other offers and schemes what we are doing.
Right.
Other thing is that we give free of cost home delivery, whether you buy product for 5,000, 10,000 or even 500. We give free of cost home delivery.
Right.
That is USP.
Sure.
On the infra front, what Vishal was sharing, अभी तो जोमेटो ब्लैंकेट बहुत ज़्यादा एक्टिवेट हो गया है. सो आपके पास दिन भर टू व्हीलर वाला बंदा घूम रहा है बैक पैक लेके, एंड लोडिंग अनलोडिंग अब दिन भर चल रही है. पहले होता था कि बड़ा ट्रक सुबह आके लग गया, डीलोडिंग होगी, देन स्टॉक फीड हो रहा है. सो इंफ्रा के वाइज अब बिकॉज बड़े नोडल पॉइंट्स बन गए हैं सेंटर्स में, तो लोडिंग अनलोडिंग पे ना उतना प्रेशर नहीं है अब, क्योंकि दिन भर छोटे ट्रक से फीडिंग हो रही है आपकी, एंड दैट इज हाउ थिंग्स आर मूविंग इन. एंड टू व्हाट ही सेड, वन मोर थिंग, कि आपको जब तक आप टेक ड्रिवन नहीं हो, अब बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे जैसे हम द्वारका में रियलाइज करते हैं, वेर इन हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ बोथ आर वर्किंग.
Yes.
अब वाइफ अगर पहले निकल रही है तो उसने ऑनलाइन हाइपर मार्केट में ऑर्डर कर दिया, एंड वाइफ शी इज एंटरिंग इनटू द्वारका और शी इज अबाउट टू गो होम, वो द्वारका होते हुए निकलेगी और सामान पिकअप करके निकल जाएगी. स्पार पहले टेक अवे विंडोज नहीं देता था हमारे यहाँ. वी इंसिस्टेड देम, दे वर्कड ऑन अ मॉडल वेर इन ड्राइव थ्रू के बिल्कुल साथ उन्होंने पैकेट्स खुद डिलीवरी काउंटर पर डाल दिए हैं.
Right.
तो सेल्फ ड्रिवन व्हीकल्स आ रहे हैं, वो टेक अवे डिलीवरी ले रहे हैं जैसे मैकडी में होता है, एंड देन दे गोइंग होम.
That's a very good aspect. I think convenience basically is the main criteria for customers today. Another trend that we witnessed here is F&B is turning out to be one of the major anchors. So, of course, the earlier days in terms of allocation, there used to be a small percentage, but now we see people really stepping out for dining. It's not just for weekends, but it's literally through the week. So what have you witnessed in your, maybe in your earlier experience as a DLF? Did you witness a major transformation in the F&B space?
Earlier, when people used to order in food, they used to prefer the restaurants which are more close to the houses, which deliver faster pace. Now the trend changed, and when they want to have an experiential dining inside their own houses, so there are brands like Pots and Enokis on those lines, which give you that experience at home also.
Right.
If they want to step out, now the things have changed because the customer is more learned, well traveled. Earlier we used to go only for Chinese. Now you have various parts of Asian food. You have Vietnamese, Burmese, Japanese. If earlier there were momos, now there are dim sums. Earlier there were pastry shops. Now there are patisseries.
Right.
Earlier there were basic coffee shops. Now there are more cafes which can be divided into further categories like artisanal cafes or commercial cafes. So when we talk about artisanal cafes, likes of Third Wave and Blue Tokai. When we talk about commercial cafes, we have your Starbucks and Tim Hortons and baristas.
Right.
So yes, it has evolved with time. It is becoming an anchor now, and you'll see a lot of centers which are coming very heavy on F&B.
Right.
I mean, and we saw that trend even in my previous company with DLF. We saw that trend happening. Then AeroCity also happened, and a lot of developers are moving towards that trend.
Right. Agree. Avenue, of course, is a great example
Yes,
of
we
F&B
created
driven.
a separate vertical called Commons for that.
Yes, absolutely. A co-brand, a separate branded food area in a mall. And Ravinder, similar aspect, what have you witnessed in terms of F&B trends?
I'm very much in line with what Atam has said. So F&B is now very, very critical while we plan the mall.
Right.
Be it cafe, be it patisseries, be it food court, be it restaurants. One change that we have witnessed, that each one of us who are present in this room follow a different clock. कोई सुबह 6 बजे उठ रहा है, वो ब्रेकफास्ट 8 बजे कर रहा है, कोई उठ 10 बजे रहा है, वो 12 बजे ब्रेकफास्ट कर रहा है, कोई रात को 9 बजे डिनर कर लेता है, कोई 7 बजे के बाद मील नहीं खा रहा है, कोई रात को 2 बजे भी पिज्जा खा रहा है. So everybody is in their own time zones.
Right.
So that has pushed to a lot of all-day diners, then specialized restaurants.
Right.
पहले लंच होता था, फिर ब्रेक होता था, फिर डिनर होता था. 7:30 से पहले और 4:30 के बीच में सब बंद रहता था. अब पता ही नहीं है, लोग 4 बजे भी ब्रेड खा रहे हैं, 3 बजे भी रोटी खा रहे हैं, रात को 8 बजे भी सूप पी रहे हैं, सुबह 6 बजे भी सूप पी रहे हैं. So my point is, फूड का ना हमारा ग्लोबल एक्सपोजर बहुत चेंज हो गया है. And our expectations have really gone up. We want to try a lot of things, especially in Delhi NCR. I don't know about tier 2 and tier 3, how major changes in F&B culture has evolved. But in Delhi NCR, I'm pretty sure everybody wants to experiment a lot of things. Assamese food से शुरू हुआ, छोटे छोटे अगर आप बात करोगे, Bhutanese food आ गया, फिर आपके पास थाई में आ गया. पहले हमारे लिए सिर्फ एक पैन एशियन कहलाता था, अब पैन एशियन में 3 डिविजन्स हो गए. So people are more aware, they are more exposed to a larger things. बहुत bespoke खाना भी खाना चाहते हैं. They want to make that outing with the family a experiential outing. It is not just a food outing anymore. So yes, F&B is very, very critical. We being a center which is shopping and F&B, so we are under a lot of pressure कि मैं all day diner कितने करूँ, मैं Indian cuisine कितनी करूँ, मैं Pan Asian कितना करूँ, या मैं night club कितने करूँ. So yes, F&B is pushing the developer beyond its envelope to rethink. Because F&B is not that easy. Again, infra will come into picture.
Yeah, so
अब दिन भर की आपकी प्रोफाइल चेंज हो रहा है, STP, ETP चेंज हो रहा है, वर्किंग आवर्स चेंज हो रहे हैं. So yes, but F&B is also paying us with lot of good dividends, bringing in good profile of customers. जो हम पहले APC 400-500 रुपए की सोचते थे, अब APC की कोई लिमिट ही नहीं है. 3,000-4,000 की APCs, which was unheard of, is now very common.
Is very common now, especially in our region. So I think we witnessed a similar change in other regions as well. I mean, I was recently in Bangalore, and one of the things I noticed is the CBD. There are so many F&B focused destinations that have emerged in the last year or so. So clearly, I think the same trend is happening across cities. So even in supermarkets, do you think, do you have a separate sort of an area for F&B that you allocate while customers are shopping? So do you offer the same experience there as well, so that they can spend longer hours?
Yeah, we have set up small cafe inside our supermarkets,
Right.
so that people can go and have some coffee. Just for
Right.
5-10 minutes, she or he can sit over there.
Right.
Plus, we have some offering also, because normally supermarket don't have some cafes. We are putting cafes.
Right.
Hypermarket have cafes, but not supermarkets. And we have 50, 100 square feet. We have put cafe every across several supermarkets. Even if we have 1,000 square feet or 2,000 square feet hyper supermarket, we have
Right.
cafe over there.
Right.
Besides this, we have some toys shop also, some section for kids, because main drivers are the kids are nowadays.
No, absolutely, because then that makes them spend longer hours. People come with families. There are kids; they want something, and obviously it comes back to your revenue. So why not?
Why not? Main driver of our revenue are kids and ladies.
That's true.
Yeah, just to adding to this, we used to have this hypermarket in Bombay, which used to operate a separate food court within their own system. Now you see in IKEAs, there are food courts happening. So people tend to spend the entire day. They don't have to step out of the step out to have food and then come back, because then your hit ratio goes down. So it's better you provide everything under one roof. You're giving them food as well, so that in between meals, if they're tired, they want to grab a bite, they can take a break from their shopping, pick up something to eat, go back to shopping. So you're not letting them step out, you're not giving them much options. And somewhere or the other, there's only one retailer fortunately sitting with us. Somewhere or the other, you're killing the competition as well then.
Absolutely. I think that's a great example you gave of IKEA. Their food is world famous, and people really follow, them for the food. Of course, besides the other aspects as well. So I think we also want to sort of throw some light on what are the future trends that we are seeing. Any trends that you're sort of keeping in mind while planning new centers? Like some of the things that come to my mind, of course, a lot of developers are looking at mixed-use developments where there's office, there's retail, residential, maybe a hotel. So do you see that as a trend, and do you see developers kind of, keeping, getting developments in this space? Ravinder, do you want to answer that?
Yes, I strongly see mixed-use developments being the larger developments which will be you will be seeing in the future to come in, because what we believe that a mixed-use development can justify the infrastructure between Monday to Friday, and Saturday Sunday retail will take it up. So if full utilization is to be done, then mixed use will always help. A hotel in the same vicinity or an office block in the same vicinity will always push the sales of retail. And along the same side, this will bring down CAM component a little lesser also, which could be benefited and passed on to the retailer, which are the larger angle to us. And when it comes to transformation in designs that we foresee, I believe F&B, FEC, and your flexible spaces needs to be created especially for D2C brands. As we see Indian retail story being rewritten to different heights, and I'm a firm believer of next decade will surely see different benchmarks for us, and wherein D2C customers and D2C brands will come out of very, very small pockets and very remote pin codes of India. So we need to be very much up for the game. We need to see how we can accommodate D2C brands, how we can expose them. You never know which brand could be the next lens card of India.
Absolutely. And when you're selecting, let's say, your locations, do you also identify, pockets where, let's say, there's more office catchment or there's more residential or a similar mixed-use developments? Do you also enter? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
we are basically looking for residential catchment.
Right.
We don't need any high street or particular. It has to be residential catchment.
Right.
Where family, basically, ultimately family, we have to come attract the families.
Right.
So we won't mind supporting neighborhood vicinity store or like anything.
Right.
Main thing is that it has to be residential vicinity.
Right.
People should be residing there.
Right. But I also see some trends where, of course, now let's say a cyber city having a modern bazaar or any IT park, and we message our lists to our
That is
husband
not our
because-
target. We are targeting middle class and upper middle class segment. That is higher segment.
Right. Great, absolutely. So I think we're coming towards the end of our session, and we'd like to open the stage for any questions that anyone has. Any questions, anyone, to any of the panelists? Doesn't look like. Okay. Sure. Thank you, everyone. This was clearly a very insightful session, and we look forward to many more sessions happening in future. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.